Hi everyone. So we'll get started then and see if other people join. But thank you everyone for coming along today. So my name's Anna Bertram. I'm one of the assistant accountants at Leeds Teaching Hospitals, and I'm just going to talk to you a bit about our induction work that we've done and some of the staff development work that we've been doing over the last few months. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now. It's not going into presentation mode. Let's see. Has that come up for everybody now?
Yeah, I can see that.
Perfect, thank you. So as I said, we're looking at our induction work that we've been doing, just going to run through some of the key things that we've been working on and some of the outputs today. So, go. So a bit of background for you. So we started by setting up a new finance staff development group with members of staff from across the finance department. So that includes people at all bands and all experience levels. So we had a new lead for the FSD group, which was one of our assistant directors of finance, and we had deputies assigned to support as well. So each with a different role within that group. So we had around 40 members of staff volunteered and involved right from the initial meetings. So we started with an open discussion to get down all the ideas for areas that we thought could be developed. So it included things like the induction process, it included recruitment, health and wellbeing came under that umbrella, and training for finance and non-finance staff as well, amongst many other ideas. We came up with a really long list. So as I sort of put on here, that group was aimed to improve day-to-day operations. How can we improve the work that we're already doing? But to improve staff morale as well. We're really focusing at the minute on retention of our staff. So how can we sort of make it better, the work that we're doing? So we started then with 5 working groups in phase 1, and then we've just started phase 2 now with another 4 groups. So after the initial sessions, we split into smaller working groups. So the groups were split into by people's interests, and we wanted a range of bands in them groups as well. We wanted people to be able to work with those that they wouldn't usually work with. So we had 6 team members in the team that I was in, ranging right the way from band 2 up to associate director of finance. So we could really learn a lot from each other. So as I say, so I was working on the induction group, and actually I had the opportunity to lead that group. So we did a lot of this work last year. At the time I was a band 4 member of staff, so as well as making these developments for others in the team, being involved in this is a great development opportunity for your staff as well. So leading the induction group then, so we had several new starters that were due to start across our finance team, and we really wanted to ensure that everybody was having that same experience. So our aims for the project, as you can see on here, is that we wanted to have a consistent approach that was being used across the directorate. When we were asking people what they were currently doing, we were finding it varied quite a lot. Some people were getting quite, a lot of support within that first week, others not so much. So how could we make it consistent? And we wanted to share best practice with each other as well. So, there's a lot of great work that was already happening at the trust, and I'm sure at yours as well. But actually not everybody was getting to see that and share that with each other. So as I sort of said before, one of our focuses is on retention of our staff. And we feel that this starts right from that first impression of the organisation, right from your first week. So we really wanted everyone to have a positive experience. And sort of, as always, a focus on efficiency as well. So we don't want managers to have to start from scratch each time. What can we take from each other? So the next step then, so what did we do? So we started by gathering information from across all the teams. So what were people already doing? What was working well? What feedback did people have who'd recently started? We found that was probably one of the most vital pieces of information that we gathered. What did they wish that they'd had? Or what had they had that was really, really successful and felt should be in everybody's induction? So we used this information, gathered it and collated it to produce documents to help share that best practice with the team. and this was something that we rolled out then to everybody across finance. We made it quite generic, and then with sort of recruiting managers then being able to tailor it to their area where necessary. So the actual output, so we started with the timetable. So this was the most effective approach. So it received really positive feedback from the team that were currently using it, as well as the rest of the teams when they were presented with this idea. So we created a full timetable for that first week. So only one small team were actually already using this approach, and we developed it further within our working group. We brainstormed ideas to come up with a template, which was then subsequently shared with the rest of the department. So I will just share with you now an example of the one that we used. So shortly after we'd done this work, I had a new apprentice finance assistant start in my immediate team working with myself. So I was tasked with setting up their induction. So I set up this timetable for him, and we used it as a guide in the first week. So as you can see, we really haven't, we haven't reinvented the wheel here. It is very basic, but we've improved the experience and support given to our new starters in their first weeks just by doing this. So for us, we opted for a 2-week guide, and we came up in our initial sessions in the working group with a template, including examples of activities that can be done in the first couple of weeks. So some of them we can see on here. So having health and wellbeing check-ins, introductions to different teams, catch up with buddies. What did we want everybody to have in that induction first 2 weeks? So the template is on the innovation site if anybody wants to take a look at that, or you can get in touch with me after as well. I'm happy to send the initial template across. But you can see from on here, we've colour coded to ensure that the first weeks are varied. So it really easily stands out if you've got too many meetings in, too much time without any supervision. Now, this member of staff, we had to make it quite detailed. They're 18 years old, it was their first job, so they really needed a lot of contact time in those first couple of weeks. But we do appreciate, you might not need this level of detail and planning if it's a more senior or experienced colleague. So producing this plan was incredibly helpful. So although it took some time in the first instance to set it up, it did save a lot of time during those first 2 weeks. So myself and the new starter, we knew exactly what was happening. I knew what time I needed to set aside in those weeks, and it meant that they were getting the sufficient support and the time that they deserved as well. We've all got so much going on. It's really important to have them feel valued within that first week. So as a finance team at Leeds, and I'm sure everywhere else, we really want to create that good first impression. So hopefully by doing this, we are achieving that. So with this document, we had several tabs along the bottom. You can just sort of see it there. So we were having a think about, and from the information that we gathered, what can we actually use? What do they need on that first week? So what we had done, so we set up a template then for the recruiting manager to add the team structure and to help the new starter familiarise themselves with those in the team and see how everybody fits together. And we also created a space to add key files and phone numbers that they need. So what we identified was not everybody was seeing all the links to the skills development network, to HFMA modules, to One NHS Finance and Value Makers. We wanted everybody to have that in their first week, so they can go on to use all those resources. What we found was, a lot of the work that we were doing was just pulling the information together, because there's already all this great work that exists. It's just about documenting that and sharing it with everybody. So the final thing on this document is the core training. So we wanted to include this then, so that the new starter and manager can work through the list and just make sure that everything is completed, and they're not missing out on anything. Excuse me. So this feeds from a training matrix as well. So in another one of our working groups, we set up a training matrix that documents each role within our finance team and the training that each person should receive. So that really helps us to easily identify what can we add on here, and it just feeds through very quickly. So in doing this process, we realise it's a working document, so we are requesting constant feedback on the documents that we're producing. and we were at the time getting to that final template. So we're keen to add anything else to this. So one thing that we had later started to do and that received really great feedback was sending this timetable to the new starter in the week leading up to their start date. So before they've even come into the organisation, we were sending this out to people. New starters were really happy with this. It helped them to feel more at ease, just having knowledge of what they were going to be doing on their first week. It meant as well we had to be prepared for it. We weren't leaving it to the last minute to get this set up because we'd sent it out a week before they started. There's some other outputs from the induction work. So in our induction work then, we also produced some key information documents. So one of the most frequently used is a how-to for IT access and systems. Now, not everybody is an IT expert, and we were struggling with getting everybody set up on all the sites. It just wasn't seeming to be an efficient process because we had a bit of a lag between them starting and actually getting access, so they couldn't get cracking straight away. So we collated all of the information, circulated it around the team. Now this was a really quick win. It didn't take much time to pull this information together, particularly the IT access, but it really meant that people could just get set up and start working straight away. We found these quick wins were really useful and also helped sort of the motivation of the team as well. The final output of our induction work that I wanted to share with you that's been really successful for us is our buddy scheme. So different organisations have got buddy schemes set up already, and we could see the success of these, but we had nothing like this in place at the time. So what we did was we thought it would be a really great start to have a new starter, existing colleague paired, just to get the buddy system up and running. So in all honesty, we had initially quite a slow response when we were asking for volunteers. We weren't getting much uptake. I think everybody's very busy and they didn't really understand the ask of them and what was expected. But we overcame this by going to our timeout event. So this was an in-person session where we had the whole finance department there. And we spoke about the support network that we wanted to set up. Actually, from that, we received around 40 volunteers, and they ranged from band 2 to band 8, and from all departments across the finance team as well, which was something that we really wanted to do. Again, we want that consistent approach across everybody. So these people were all happy to be a buddy for a new starter. So we've got a database currently that one of our band 4 staff maintains, so it's a great opportunity for them as well. And a recruiting manager just requests a buddy through the band 4 for their new starter, and they get paired with somebody in a similar role. So we've tried to buddy people with somebody at a similar level. What we've found is, this isn't a mentor relationship. It isn't about training. It's about having that friendly face and somebody to go and speak to if they've got any questions that they're not sure about. What we have tried to do sort of after the first few buddy pairings were set up, we found it was actually really useful to pair somebody with someone in a different team to them, similar role but different team, and it just helped our new starters to integrate with the wider finance team much easier. So we ran some training sessions on this and they were really well attended. So this sort of came out of people being unsure about what expectations were on them. So we needed to make sure that everybody was receiving the same support as well, and everybody who was signed up to be a buddy was really putting in that effort that the new starters deserved. So we set out the key aims and objectives of the scheme, but we left it open then to the buddy to determine the frequency of meetings, topics of discussions, etc., just with whatever worked for them. So as I sort of said before, the aim is for this to be professional but friendly pairing, so the new starter can just ask any questions that they might not feel comfortable asking their manager. So we started this in August, September time, and we've got pairs that still meet and check in on a regular basis. So it's been particularly effective, we've found, for our band 2 apprentices and our university placement students as well. So all helping with that retention of staff. And as well as the new starters, we found that this has been a great development opportunity as well for our existing staff. So our staff band 2 to 4, it's given them an opportunity to use a bit of their leadership skills, their communication. So it's great for both people involved. So let's put on here our aims. This is what we shared with everybody. So what we wanted to do by setting up this buddy scheme is to establish a supportive network. We wanted to increase the confidence of new staff, so get them out, get them meeting people in other teams that they wouldn't have done. We really want to encourage development, so being paired up with somebody who's been in a similar position, you know, what advice can they give them? Are there any training courses that they could go on? And have that culture of lesson learned. You know, it's not about, you know, if you've done something wrong, it's okay, so how can we make this better? How can we improve for next time? It's given that extra contact as well for people. We've got a lot of hybrid working at the minute, so we don't always see everybody face to face. Having as many contacts, growing that network is always really useful. And an opportunity as well to celebrate success, you know, not in such a formal environment. We can talk about those little wins that we've had. But our buddy scheme, it has been really successful, really great feedback. So really encourage everybody to set that up within their team where possible. I just wanted, while I've got everybody as well, just to touch on our recruitment and retention work that we've been doing. We've seen a lot of success with this, and it's very much linked with the induction work. So we've done this as part of our staff development group. And honestly, we were quite struggling to get our finance officers coming through. We weren't getting the same level of applications as we previously had done. So we went out, we changed our strategy, and we have recruited some band 2 apprentices. We've recruited them across our management accounts teams, and they've been incredibly successful. So what happens, we've got our apprentices who attend college 1 day a week, and they're studying for their AAT qualification. And then the rest of the week, they're working with our accountants, our assistant accountants, and supporting the day-to-day work the rest of the time. So we're really hoping, you know, these people are going to stay with us a long time. They're doing the training here. We've got school leavers, we've got university graduates as well. It really increased the number of applications we were getting for the role, having that offer of study support as well. And on top of that, we've also given a lot more focus to our university placement students. So these people have been invaluable, contributing to our team's success. So we've now got the next round of shortlisting that's just currently going on for our placement students for next year, and we've got some really good applications there. So it's been very successful, and really pleased that we've done that work. So on top of that, we've started to get our job adverts out on Indeed as well, just to be there with the competition, and that's at all levels. And we've been attending schools, careers fairs, and apprenticeship events as well, promoting our organisation, and promoting the jobs that we've got. I think NHS finance isn't always people's first thought when they're a school leaver, so it's been really great to see that interest coming from all of that. So I guess one of our challenges, and it might be something that other people have experienced, is getting the message out there and engaging with everybody. You know, we had 40 volunteers, but there was still a lot of people who weren't involved in it. We want this to be consistent, and we want everyone to have the opportunity to feedback, just so that they feel empowered to be involved with the developments that we're trying to make across the department. So how we've done it, we've kind of gone out every way that we can. So we've given presentations via Teams, and we've done them in person as well. I think the in-person ones have been probably the most successful. We've shared it via our intranet, which we've also given a makeover during our FSD project work as well. And we've shared it in our team meetings and had huddles, had discussions about what we want to see across the organisation, what work can we do to make it better, our day-to-day work. So just finally, the outcomes of all of this work. So as you can see on here, and as I keep touching on, we've got that consistent approach now to the induction process that's across the directorate, and we've got an induction process that's based on feedback and ideas of our staff. As I say, we're going to keep working on that, keep getting the feedback in, and as things change, we can amend the documents that we've got. It has saved time for recruiting managers. People are getting a better induction, but actually it's taking less time to do it and to plan it, and a positive experience for all of our new members of staff. So I apologise for going on there and talking quite a lot, but happy to now take any questions if anybody has got any. Thank you. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, yeah. I was just going to make a comment, Anna. Thanks. One of the reasons why you might not have so many people is it is half-term week, isn't it? Well, it certainly is in Bristol. So I've just dipped in because this is something we're working on at the moment. So we're designing an induction pack, and we are also putting together what we're calling a manager's checklist, and also working on a timetable. So I'm on here now for some hints and tips. But it's really positive, isn't it? What you've done in, and I think also because we're doing something similar at the moment, it's possibly it's inevitable, but we're clearly we're thinking along the same lines. So and we have the same we're experiencing the same issues with recruitment and retention, and appreciate that it really is important to make that right impression the first time, isn't it? And keep. But also obviously to keep that going, keep your input and consistent and moving forward. So yeah, so thank you very much. I'm going to suggest the guy who's leading on producing our timetable is on leave this week, so I'm going to suggest he picks up the recording ASAP.
Yeah, of course, and feel free to email me as well. I don't know if I can put my email in the chat after this, and if anybody's got any other questions or wants anything sending across. I think what we've found, as I said, it is quite a generic thing to do, the induction, isn't it? It's very easily shared across people, and as well, if you're working on it, if you've got anything that you've found is great, please let us know too. And we can add that to our pack. It's sort of definitely two-way.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Thanks for your comments.
Okay.
I can see in the chat as well, somebody said, oh, John, I don't know if you're going to come in, but you've asked if it's possible to get a copy.
Yes.
So some of the resources are on the innovation page, but happy to email it across to you. As I say, I'll put my email in the chat, and if you just want to drop me a line, I'll send it over.
Yeah, thank you. That was me. This is my second week. So technically in my induction period, and one of the first things I've realized is that there is no induction. So part of my role is to create an induction pack for those who will be coming on after me. So obviously I'm in a very unique position where I've just started, never worked in the NHS, and I have this long list of things that, oh, it'd have been good to know this, it would have been good to do this before I started. So yeah.
Yeah, but of course I'll send it over. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy?
Yeah, hi, thanks, Anna. I found that really, really useful. So we're a very small ICB, so in terms of staff turnover, we don't have a great deal. Our staff has sort of all been here for quite a long time, I guess, but we have got graduate placement trainees, which I was responsible for looking after the current one. And we found that we didn't have an induction timetable at all. So I've started to create something. And actually, we have got a new starter starting the 18th of March. So this is really key timing. And I've started to sort of collate things together in a folder for the new starter in terms of, links of pages, the things you use the most. It takes you a while to get those links and ask it. But to see how you've laid out is really, really helpful. So whereas I've just got loads of files stuck in a folder at the moment, I can see how I can adapt that to a timetable that you've shared with us today. So yeah, and that's the great things about these networks, isn't it? That like I would sit here and reinvent the wheel now, and hopefully I can piggyback off yours and tweak it to fit ours, and then roll it out across the system as well. So yeah, really useful. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks. Got any final questions or?
Yeah.
We look like we're all done, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Anna, for your time. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to save the recording now onto our YouTube channel. Sorry if it's a bit loud. I'm in the office today. And colleagues can access it for that. I'll also send it to those that weren't able to make it today. It is half term. Yeah, I'm in Bristol as well, so I know people are. But yeah, thank you so much, Anna, and thanks everyone else.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thanks.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.